It is time to begin our final day of programming on the GBEV stage. There is a growing and controversial practice of introducing rap lyrics and other creative works as evidence in criminal trials across the United States. Our panelists will explore how this trend disproportionately impacts black and brown artists and hip-hop performers. Joining us on the Global Black Economic Forum stage, nationally syndicated radio host heard on 90 stations across America and in New Orleans on KMEZ 102.9, Dee McGuire.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone.
She is the CEO of Culture Holdings, Ty Baisden, and music artist Bash for the World.
Well, welcome, 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 everybody. Let's talk about this. You know, when you think about it, throughout history, right, artists have used music to tell stories, express emotions, challenge power structures, and reflect the realities of their communities. Yet in recent years, think about this, courts across the United States have increasingly seen prosecutors introduce rap lyrics and other creative works as evidence in criminal trials, right? Critics argue that this practice disproportionately impacts black and brown artists, particularly hip-hop performers, and may undermine fundamental First Amendment protections. Supporters contend that creative works can sometimes be relevant evidence under certain circumstances. Today we're going to explore all of that, the legal, cultural, and social implications of putting lyrics on trial. Here is one thing I need to ask the both of you. In one minute, what concerns you most about the use of lyrics in criminal proceedings?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is that rappers are treated as if they're not doing art versus an actor that's playing a killer or a country singer that's, singing about abuse, right? Where rap, black and brown artists are not treated as if their work is art. It's almost like it's a confession.
Okay, I love that. What do you have to say? What do you think about that?
I think at what point do we draw the line to what is creativity and what is basically fiction or nonfiction? At what point are you allowed to be an artist, and at what point is the criminal system basically charging you for what lyric that you're saying or whatever the case may be?
So let me ask you this, Bash. When you're writing, how much are your lyrics a lived experience versus storytelling or a character?
So I think it's a very broad way that I go about when I write my music. Obviously, I speak on what's going on in my environment, what's going on with me, what might be going on to some of my peers, what might be going on just from what I've seen or what I've done myself. I think it's just a healthy balance.
What about you, Ty? When you think about hip hop and rap lyrics, right? Specifically getting pulled into courtrooms, right? What are you thinking about that in terms of the lyrics and the genre? How do you feel about it being pulled in the courtroom?
I think that it being pulled in the courtroom is unfair because with hip hop, there have always been journalists of the struggle of growing up in the United States of America, right? So when you think about a T.I. or you think about a Jay-Z or a Bun B, you don't think about crime, right? You're listening to hear what their experience was growing up in their environment, things of that nature.
Right. Okay, but here's another question. How often are you seeing this happen now? Do you feel that you're seeing lyrics being used in the courtroom more often than before?
Absolutely. I think social media kind of boosted that really, really, really heavily. When you have, I had a family member who got his probation violated. He was reciting rap lyrics on Twitter, and they thought that it was him pleading guilty to a charge, but he was reciting T.I. rap lyrics, and they used it to kind of violate his probation.
Do y'all hear this, right? This is why we have to pay attention. When you're thinking about a young artist like Bash, right? Bash, do you have the fear of being misread, right? Here you are being an artist and a storyteller And are you ever nervous when you're writing that there's the possibility that your lyrics are going to be used against you?
I think in this type of time that we living in, you definitely have to be a little bit more cautious. At least I am. I feel like I definitely have a lot of real experiences that I pull from, a lot of things that I've dealt with my own self, or somebody that may still be connected, one foot in, one foot out around me. So I'm definitely a lot more cautious of what it is that I'm saying. And I mean, I'm an artist, so I'm gonna always speak my truth. But I definitely feel like in this type of day that we in, we got to be a little bit more smarter with what we saying.
But does it hamper you when it comes to wanting to release music? You know, if you're concerned about your lyrics and how somebody's going to take it, now you're kind of going to be hiding your art, right? And so do you ever feel like I don't want to release this for the fear of the backlash?
I think that's the catch-22 in it, because just me being so realistic in everything that I'm experiencing and going through. Um, for me personally, to answer your question, I'm gonna always tell my truth. No matter what, I accept what comes with whatever that I'm doing or whatever. So I'm gonna always speak my truth, but I definitely try to have some more caution with certain things that I may be saying.
Okay. Now let's talk about this part, Ty. When you're thinking about audiences and you're thinking about the juries, do they hold black artists, think about it, especially in hip hop, to a different standard?
I think if hip hop was founded by white people, they wouldn't. But being that it's black young kids, they're just naturally viewed. And the truth of the matter is, hip hop was a way to get out of hardship from a hood perspective, right? So the individuals that was able to break through during that time frame, it's not like that today, but it still carries that. So the level of like racism and disparity that you speak about just from data, it's the reality of the world that rappers live in. It doesn't matter what they're rapping about, how they're rapping about it. Some of these things that there are rappers who have rapped about crimes that they've done, but that's very small compared to how many rappers it is in the United States of America.
Okay, which brings me to think about it, the YSL situation that we saw in Atlanta. Give me your thoughts on that, because we saw in a situation there where the lyrics of an artist were being held against him. What are your thoughts?
I think that when it came to the YSL, turning a rap group into a criminal organization based on lyrics and using the lyrics outside of like real actions. I think that lyrics being put into cases like that distracts the jury from what really the truth is and where really the judge should be paying attention to. And I don't think lyrics, when it has that many people involved, because everybody wasn't rapping necessarily the same way that the next person was rapping, but the lyrics can be blanketed when an individual is looking at it, and they might not like rappers. They might not even like rap music. So when you put rap music lyrics in the front of a jury, that can kind of blind them from what they really should be paying attention to. What are the evidence? What are the facts? What are the circumstances? All of these different aspects.
So what you're saying is that you're saying that if there are a hip hop artist and you're going to trial and they're using the lyrics, there's going to already be a bias in your mind because of somebody's attitude towards hip hop, right?
Absolutely.
And because of what we're seeing in the press and on the news and everything else, it gives it a bad name almost. And so you have jurors who may not feel it.
So let's put it in perspective of business. Right now, today in 2026, if you want to do a hip hop concert, it's hard for you to get insurance.
Because of the stigma, the idea,
1,000%.
and what comes with it, so they think, right?
Yeah.
So Bash, as an artist, right, an up-and-coming artist for you, when you think about this, right, you ever think to yourself, I'm writing something, but I can potentially be framed based on what I've written? Does that make you nervous?
1,000%. 1,000%. I feel like we already at a disadvantage, so adding even more stress, more eyes that's unwanted is gonna bring more, I guess, quote unquote, heat to yourself or your situation. So I definitely do feel a little bit more, maybe not fearful, but a little more worrisome about what I'm saying.
Okay, because here's the thing, right? Here's one of the questions that I love. What distinguishes artistic expression from a factual admission of guilt, right? because you could be writing, Bash, about something that's not necessarily your life. It could be, okay, let's talk about SZA. The song that SZA had out about from Kill Bill was based on the Kill Bill, right? Those are some lyrics this woman wrote. But if you were to take it to court and dissect those lyrics, do y'all realize that girl could be behind bars, right?
Right.
But it was based not necessarily on her life, and it wasn't based on an admission. This was based on her, a love of a movie. But if you were to take that into court, right, and you have jurors who don't know and can't separate, so that's what I'm thinking about with you, Bash, as an artist. You're not always writing about your life. You're writing about a character. But this can be, again, used. So I'm thinking to myself, what distinguishes, again, expression from factual when it comes to artists?
I really,
Right? It's
yeah.
hard to separate.
I just think that when we talk about crime, just do the investigation on the crime, right? It's no, like when Bash is writing about a song because of something he saw in the news and that inspired him to create art. It is what it is. It was an inspiration of something that he experienced by looking at it, not because he went and actually did a crime.
So how do you defend that, though? You know what I mean? Like, is that hard to defend in a courtroom for an attorney if he's got a hip-hop artist and he's representing them? You know what I mean? Is it hard? You know what I'm saying?
You might get Brian Steele.
I mean, but, like, you get what I'm saying?
It's difficult.
It's different, and it's difficult. Do you do a lot of cases like that? Do you take those cases?
If I'm a lawyer,
Yeah, if you were a lawyer, would you take them, I'm saying?
I mean, if I wanted to do good for the hood, I guess I wouldn't have no choice. I'm not a lawyer. I'm far from
And
that.
I'm going to ask this to everybody who's watching, everybody in the audience right now. Do you, when you think about it and you're listening to hip-hop artists, I'm curious about this. When you hear a song lyric about violence, do you automatically assume that the artist actually committed a crime, right? That's a question to ask yourself. Do you guys always automatically assume, do you guys, when you're listening to music, do you assume that they did everything that they're writing about? No. You think that it's what? It's just storytelling.
Yeah,
Is it
exactly.
storytelling?
Just like a movie.
Yeah.
Storytelling is a movie.
Some people would say, but if you're storytelling and it talks about violence, right, is that a good thing to put out in the first place to the public? What are y'all's thoughts on that?
That's subjective.
I like that. Okay, Bash, what were you getting ready to say? Because I saw you.
Yeah, it's the same thing. A song, a movie, a book. It's all a story to a certain extent.
And it's just your writing.
It's just
And
just
you're
your
creating a
creativity.
character.
Yeah, it's coming from just your creativity.
Okay, so here's another question, guys, and I love this one, okay? Many legal scholars argue that using lyrics as evidence may create chilling effect on free expression. Why is this viewed as a First Amendment concern? What do you think?
I mean, think about it. If you want to be a new artist and you're watching the Young Thug case, right, and you grew up, let's say, in the streets of Philadelphia, and you want to talk about the things that you grew up seeing, right? So if you think that you can get penalized by freely speaking, then you're less likely to try to talk about those things, and it might hamper your storytelling. It might take you away from even wanting to be art, because the truth of the matter is everybody don't look at rappers as musicians, you know.
Okay, let me ask this question too, Bash. When we're thinking about this, because again, the lyrics are always on trial, and we're seeing this with a lot of the cases, right? What responsibility do you think that managers and the labels and the industry, what do you think they have, their responsibility in protecting artists from this?
I would hope that they doing a. I would hope that they helping the artists understand what could potentially come to them if they still have one foot in, quote unquote, the streets. Me, I'm an independent artist, so I've always had to maneuver this on my own. And what I've done is, at the end of the day, I'm an artist. It's my creativity. Like we was talking about earlier, when do you blur the line? When is a lyric? A lyric is not an admission of guilt. A lyric is not something that should take me to jail or potentially ruin my career. But I just feel like as a man, you need to be true with yourself and understand what you're dealing with. There's already a target on our backs coming from where we coming from, being hip-hop artists. So I think we just need to do our own job as well and just be a little more cautious with certain things.
So I want to just, tell everybody who's walking, and I see some people walking, and some people may just be joining us, on YouTube, our live stream. And let me tell you again, the objective of this panel is to examine the growing practice of using some song lyrics, as evidence in criminal trials. This panel, again, is going to delve into the concerns regarding freedom of expression and racial bias. And I want to give you guys some background information real quick. As of 2026, more than 800 criminal cases in the United States have used lyrics as evidence, most commonly to establish character, intent, motive, and of course, hip-hop lyrics have been used most frequently in the cases with TK, Young Thug, and YNW Melly. So when you think about that, right, when you're thinking about what's going on right now, and you hear all these cases where they're using these lyrics, this is why this conversation is definitely needed and why we need to have this conversation. And we want to make sure that, again, this is being live streamed, YouTube, you get a chance to watch it again on GBF, everybody. So I just want to make sure I tell everybody that, is that these are the reasons why we're having this kind of conversations, because we're seeing this happen a lot in our society when it comes to hip-hop artists. One of the other things I'm really, really concerned about, though, is that when you're looking at your inspiration, right? Okay, let me ask you, Bash. You're looking at inspiration. You're looking at what? Tell me what are the ingredients that goes into making a dope rap song for you, and where are the influences coming from?
I mean, it's it's real broad as well because it depends what type of record I make, and I think hip hop is such a huge genre. You got so many subgenres within the genre. So, but for me, the best recipe I have for just making music is just pulling from real experience, whether it happened to me or somebody that's right next to me or something that I saw in my community or in my neighborhood. That's where I pull the most inspiration from.
What would you say to young and upcoming artists who are worried about how their lyrics now might be perceived or used down the line?
I would say the way that they using these lyrics nowadays and the way that they already targeted us, I think you have to find a happy medium and you have to be very careful with what it is that you're saying and what you're doing, because hip hop will catapult somebody from nothing to something, and they already have the eyes on them depending on where they at in their neighborhood or whatever the case may be, really. So I think just having more caution is the name of the game in that.
What do you think about this, Ty?
I think that
What would you say? What would you actually say?
I would say be an artist. Just be an artist. Don't, if you are, doing things that are illegal that can put you into certain type of criminal activity, but then on top of it you're rapping about it, that's just not being smart. So if you want to be a musician, if you want to be treated like a musician, be an artist. And once you get out of being an artist, then you open yourself up for just self-indictment through the art that you're doing. So if you're really selling drugs and you're rapping about selling drugs,
That's just dumb. That's just dumb now. Now, at that point, yeah, okay.
yeah, be an artist.
Yeah, now at that point, we're going to take your lyrics and use them. I mean, come on. We're going to have to use these lyrics against you. But if you could change one thing about how the public, the industry, or the justice system treats creative work, if you could change one thing, what would it be?
I think record labels specifically should spend more money lobbying to protect their clients. That's probably the biggest thing I would say, because they spend money lobbying for how much they want to pay, how much they don't want to pay. So I think they should do that same level of lobbying to protect their First Amendment and have freedom of speech.
I love that. Protect that. What about you? What do you think, Bash? What can they do? If you could change one thing about how the public, the industry, or the justice system treats creative work, what would it be?
Don't judge it. I think art is art. Are they doing the same thing to a country singer? Or are they doing the same thing to somebody like the likes of Eminem and the outlandish things that he be saying? I think art is art, and it needs to remain that.
Okay. We're getting down to the last couple of questions, and I want to know this one here. 3 states, I don't know if anyone has heard or you found out about this. 3 states have passed laws limiting when lyrics can be used in court. There are other states with bills in progress, but have not yet passed. What do you want artists and fans to know about those protections?
What Stacey is, you might want to relocate.
Okay, right? Look, y'all hear that? Depends on the state, huh?
On the state, you might want to relocate if you want to double down on your protection.
All right, I was getting ready, but clearly be careful in Atlanta. Because we saw what was going on with Young Thug, although he got off. But
Definitely be careful in
But
Atlanta.
still, I mean, I'm just saying, what do you think about that? When you're hearing what's going on, and they got a bill right now. Again, they got a bill right now that is in progress, but it hasn't passed yet, right? But they're talking about limiting when lyrics can be used in court. You guys, I mean, I think it's true. They should limit it, but what are your thoughts on this? What do you want artists and fans to know about these protections?
I could just expand on what Ty said. Just it's the same way. I think move around.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Bash, I think you like, guess what? I'm going to take my chance. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to do me. I'm going to write for me, and whatever happens, happens. Is that how you're looking at it?
The way that I'm looking at it really is, I'm a big believer in reality and the truth. I think you can't live in a space where music has come from so much reality and try to front it or try to fake it or you can't make food without the real ingredients. You get what I'm saying? It's not gonna taste the same. It's not gonna come out the same way. So it wouldn't even be so much about taking a chance. It's just I have to live my truth. I don't know what else to write about. I'm not a writer to write a fiction book about a fairy tale. I can only speak on what I've seen and I know my whole life.
Okay. Here's our final question this morning. What policy changes, legal reforms, or industry actions could help address this issue? When we're talking about lyrics being used against artists in the courtroom, when we're thinking about what we've just talked about this morning, what policy changes, legal reforms, or industry actions could help address this issue?
I don't think that it will be equally even when it talks about lyrics to address it and apply it to actors, to apply it to wrestlers, anything that's story-based,
Or
storytelling or entertainment. So being that it can't be equally applied, it just need to be it's eliminated in general.
Right.
That's what I think.
So you don't believe that at all. What about you, Bash? What policy changes, legal reforms, or industry actions could help address this issue?
Man. I don't. I'm stuck on that one. Yeah.
Because at this point, we
at this point, I'm from Dallas, right? So the first time I seen this was the TK case, right? And when I seen that, it kind of just, I mean, Texas is already Texas, but on top of that, I mean, it's a weird situation. But he was still a baby. He was 16, so. I didn't dive into the case that much. I don't know, but what I do know is that they took from his music and his lyrics and his videos, and they used that in court. So, I mean, we're already at an unfair disadvantage. I feel like that was my first time seeing something like that. I was just, I don't, it's creativity. So where, like I said, where is the line drawn? When does a lyric become a confession of guilt?
This is crazy. Y'all hear this? It's so crazy. Well, listen, I want to thank you both for y'all clap it up for these two for being a part of our panel this morning. I'm going to tell y'all something right now. When you're thinking about it, music has always been more than entertainment. Now more than ever, we definitely need to value that music. It brings storytelling and cultural expression, and it brings protest. It brings healing and identity. As we continue to examine the intersection of artistic expression and criminal justice, you know what? The question before us is not only what role lyrics should play in the courtroom, but what kind of society we want to be in. One that encourages creative freedom, definitely, or one that risks criminalizing it. It's something for us to think about, right? Thank you again to our panelists. Thank you to our audience this morning for getting up early this morning, y'all. Clap it up for these folks right here, and clap it up for yourselves for being there with us this morning. I'm Dee Dee McGuire. I'll be talking to y'all in the morning on the radio. Thank you.
All right.